I don't see it as my best work. I see it more as my most important work. And without this album, I wouldn't really be where I am creatively now with my music career. So what the album is and why it really matters to me a whole year later, I think it really comes down to like it being my first official project as a producer. And at the time I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. I just knew that I wanted to finally put something out. And that's what I did. So like a few weeks before the album dropped, I actually did lead single, which would actually have been my first song that I actually released. And that one's on the album, and I think it's definitely one of my more popular ones. And the sample from that actually came from "I Want to Be Down" by Brandy.
It's only you. I wanna be down with what you're going through.
That melody just kind of like it just had that feeling that really stood out to me, and it had this like emotion to it, and I knew I could do something with that. So I pitched it and then chopped it up, and then I looped different parts until it just kind of felt like something new. That's when it stopped feeling like just like a sample flip and more like my song.
Deezi, is that you?
Okay, so yeah, how I decided the artwork, it was really just about matching the mood of like the music for the album, not just making something that like looked cool. So even now I still think about it and how it represents where I was at that time. And I wouldn't really change it. I think it's perfect as it is now. We actually went to a parking garage for this, like I forgot which one it was. I think it was Target or I don't really remember, but we found like an empty blank wall and we took a ton of pictures there. Uh, and I guess we landed on this one. No, we weren't sure where to put the parental advisory logo, so we actually just instead of putting it in the corner, we're like, why not cover my face with it and make it more mysterious? Because that's definitely the vibe of it. Um, it's supposed to have that kind of mysterious type of vibe, and I think it looks pretty cool. I think it's a good album cover. I actually think it's my best, but yeah, the 17 stands for the 17th when it dropped. I think a lot of people ask me that. I'll be wearing my jersey, and people are asking what the 17 stands for, and I'm like, that's the release date. So yeah, it's definitely a good choice, and I wouldn't change anything about it. Yeah, who I worked with on the album definitely played a bigger role than I expected. Um, Collaborating for the first time really pushed me to adapt as a producer, and yeah, it made me step out of my comfort zone. I think that's a huge part in making those first steps as a music producer. Ooh, the hardest part of making the album, I think, is definitely it was doubting myself. I think I did that a lot. Like there was moments where I felt like I wasn't good enough, or that I should just wait till I'm better or older. But and I almost didn't release it, but I'm so glad I did. I think I was just hesitant, for it being my first work, and um, that definitely made me doubt myself. Yeah, yeah. Making this album definitely changed how I work now. Like I approach music with more intention, and I think I care more about finishing it than perfecting it. So that mindset definitely started with that album. Oh yeah, if I could talk to myself when I was making this album, I'd just tell myself, stop overthinking it. Just don't overthink it and just finish it. Um, I think that decision mattered more than I realized back then, and I'm starting to realize that now, especially.
Deezi, is that you?
Yeah, at that point, there wasn't, it was a lot of pressure from a lot of people, from everyone, and it was kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie, just because every decision was on me. It felt like, and there was no one to blame but myself if something was wrong with the album. So, I think seeing people's reactions was huge for me, and just thinking about that while making the album, I think that was a big part of it. The first time I listened to the album like all the way through, it didn't feel perfect, but I think it felt complete. So that was the moment I knew that it was ready to be released. And I would say I spent about, not a whole lot of time. I would say about 4 months till I decided that it was ready to make a release date and start the rollout. Yeah. What release day felt like was honestly, I think it was huge for me. Seeing it actually like live on platforms, and I made everything feel real in a way that it hadn't before. So yeah, watching people listen to it and like react to it and talk about it was just crazy to me, because up until that point it was just something on my computer, just these beats, and um, that was the moment it stopped being mine. It started being out in the world finally. So
Deezi, is that you?
yeah, releasing this documentary like a year later, I think it just felt right, because I have enough distance to understand what the album actually meant. And at the time I was just kind of making music, but now I see the bigger picture of that. Yeah, looking back, this album is just, it was the start of everything. I mean, it taught me how to finish projects, how to trust myself, and how to put my name on something that's actually real. So yeah, a year later, and it still feels alive. It still feels like me. So you know, and this isn't the end. I think I've been working on new things, and you're gonna hear a lot more from me this year for sure. So yeah, let's just say this album was the first chapter, and the next one is coming soon. So